Well, obviously the main idea for the logistical changes within civil service departments have been trying to ensure continuity of service. So in that sense, what has happened is that the complement of staff have divided themselves into teams, with some teams working from home and other teams coming in. The idea of being to create enough social distance that the spread of the virus will be contained and that there should be continuity of service.
What proposals and issues have your members raised?
Initially, the concerns raised were from working parents in relation to schools, and if the schools shut, concerns in relation to how they would be able to continue coming into work and providing a service. Then when the counters, when cash was no longer taken in counters, we had concerns raised about handling checks and other documents and how that may be spread, could lead to further transmission of the disease. In relation to proposals, we've had proposals coming in within departments as to how best each department can handle further social distancing whilst continuing to provide a service.
ITLD is working to facilitate remote working. Is the infrastructure and technology in place for this?
Certainly we understand that remote working has been available for select users within the civil service for a long time, but ITLD is now working very closely with the government to make sure that this can be extended towards civil and public servants, which certainly is going to be essential for the continued functioning of our public services.
What support is being given in terms of cybersecurity?
Well, in relation to cybersecurity, there hasn't really been any extra support because it's part of the ITLD normal scope of works, and therefore it hasn't been required. Thankfully, there are a number of implementations in place to ensure that all inbound and outbound connections to the government secure intranet are monitored and alerted should any anomalies be flagged up. So I think that we're currently in a good position in relation to cybersecurity, and there should be no concerns on relation to that matter.
The Chief Secretary says heads of department have been given relative autonomy to distill plans that best suit their department. What's the GGCA's response to this?
Certainly the autonomy given to the departments certainly was discussed on Saturday, and we certainly felt it was a very good idea. We feel that the workforce is best placed to decide how best to create social distancing, how best to ensure a continued service. And certainly so far, albeit a couple of pockets here and there, it seems to be working well, and we seem to be building in as much resilience as possible to the virus.
It's also been reported that skilled people have been redeployed to teams tackling specific COVID-19 issues. Can you give us an idea of the sorts of tasks and skill sets these are?
Well, certainly redeployment has been something that has been discussed at this moment in time, given the crisis where there are areas of less work. If people can be redeployed to areas where there is an increase in work, that will be essential to providing a continued service. We've heard today that members of ours from GSLA have been offering to undertake deliveries, etc. We've also understand that with the closure of the daycare centres for older people, that those same people have been redeployed to maybe doing more domestic outreach. So this is the type of measure that I think will enable the civil and public service to continue providing the services that are indispensable to our community at this time.
The Chief Secretary says some who had left the civil service have now been brought back in. This has been a contentious issue in the past, but is this a case of extraordinary times calling for extraordinary measures?
Absolutely. Usually, in the normal course of things, certainly we would be against the re-engagement of retired civil servants on a consultancy basis. But usually we're talking at top-end senior officers, and in the usual circumstances. Given that we are facing what is a national emergency at this time, absolutely, it's at the moment it's all hands on deck, and certainly anybody who can be brought back in to provide a very necessary service, we absolutely encourage and support at this moment.